MSP Summit, September 2025 by Channel Partners in Orlando. Great event, big event, really enjoyed it. Had 13 great conversations with vendors and MSPs. Really well attended, well organized. I love working with Bob and the team there. The first interview was with Greg Tellone from Cloud IBR. Really enjoyed it. Really interesting man. I look forward to talking with Greg some more and maybe even playing some golf. Logan, of course, from Vendasta. Fascinating platform that helps MSPs. They're in another area. They're moving towards, they want to move towards MSPs to see how they can help them grow. Russ Reeder. Oh my goodness. Great MSP, XTM. Really enjoyed talking to Russ. I'm always fascinated with the growth of those large kind of master MSPs. Not kind of, they are master MSPs. William Rubio, of course, from Call Tower. Love working with Call Tower. He's the CRO there. They're offering a lot of areas that really MSPs need to look to expand in. Great conversation with William. Scott, of course, Scott Furman from a very great conversation. He's head of operations there, and really interesting take on what he does and how he helps MSPs, how his firm helps MSPs. Jeff Hill from Stellar Cyber. Really like talking to Jeff. He's Bulldog. He's really interesting insights. Conversation went by really quickly. Great conversation with Jeff. Ryan Stoner, who I have known for a long time. He's now with Judy Security, doing really great things, helping MSPs. Zan Stevenson. Very interesting. We opened the conversation up with just finance and where he thought he was lacking, and really dove into it and can help people in it. Has great insight right all over, to what he does now in networking and helping MSPs. Niels, yes, Niels was great too. He loves fixing things. He buys broken things and fixes them, just has an engineering mind, and how Keep It can help MSPs grow and help protect their clients. Great conversation with Neil. Paul, of course, Mander from Optory. Great conversation with Paul. The whole area, social engineering. I knew very little about this. I know a little bit more, but he's here to help MSPs. Jackie Robinson, of course, from, Anunta, right? From Connecticut, the state that I'm from. Great insight on how to help MSPs with their great desktop as a service. Michelle Raguso McBain, my longtime friend, been asking her to be on the podcast for years. She's now with a company called Red Access, doing great things there. Always love talking to Michelle. Great insight, great spirit, great energy. I just can't say enough great things about Michelle. And then lastly, of course, Cale Eisenberg, great company from Vercom. We're doing a lot of work with Vercom. Cale's got great insight. I've known Cale for 5 or 6 years now. We kind of touched base a while ago, but came back now. We have a lot of friends in common. We start off with a very interesting subject of barbershop quartets. He's a 2025 champion, and bring it right into helping MSPs with security and email security and other great services Vercom has. Great time there at the MSP Summit. Thanks so much. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. I found myself at 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. I took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People ask me, how'd you do it? What's the secret? I need to lose weight. How'd you do it? How did I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually asked them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. You saved somebody at an event?
We actually did, yeah. It was Veeam 2023, I believe.
Vegas?
No. That was Florida.
Here?
Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
yeah.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yep.
What happened?
Walking through the hallway, a friend of mine through a partner company that we work with, she fell to the floor, started having a seizure, and I log rolled her on her side so she wouldn't choke on her tongue, had someone call 911. After the seizure ended, she went into respiratory arrest, stopped breathing.
Wow.
So I started giving her mouth-to-mouth. I checked her. I'm an EMT, so I checked her. I wasn't at the time, though. At the time, I was just studying to become an EMT. I didn't become an EMT until December of that year. So checked her pulse. Everything was good, but she wasn't breathing, gave mouth-to-mouth. And after 6 or 7 resuscitation breaths, she came back.
Oh, my God.
Started breathing on her own, and EMT showed up and took her away. And she was good after that.
Wow. Have you talked to her since?
Yeah, we chat. Yeah.
Wow. Was there a crowd around, Greg?
There was 3 of us, yeah.
Wow.
So no crowd. It was towards the end of the evening at the last night of the event after the after party.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's always good to know these things, isn't it?
Yeah.
To know how to do mouth to mouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, which you don't usually do. I mean, I didn't know her well enough to do that, but usually as an EMT, you wouldn't do that. You would use like a pocket mask or something, but because she was a friend that I'd known for years, I took my chances.
Wow.
Yep.
Incredible. And so in Long Island, but you're also fire chief?
Yeah, I'm the second assistant chief. So the department has 3 chiefs. You do 2 years in each level of chief. This is my 2nd year out of 6. So.
And what are your responsibilities? That's a tough job.
We show up to calls for fires, for downed wires, for any medical related. So motor vehicle accidents. People at home, just something going wrong, and they need us. They need to either get to the hospital or they need us to put out a fire.
But it's purely volunteer, Greg.
100%. Yep.
It's amazing. A certain kind of person is able to do that, right? I mean, because you run a company and you do that. You have a family.
Yeah, and that was actually when I moved into the village I live in. It's a small 3.5 square mile village.
Oh wow!
Right on the north shore of the Sound, Long Island, and I was looking for the nearest fire hydrant next to the house I was trying to buy because the insurance company wanted that. And some guy pulls up in a pickup truck, asked me if I need a hand, and half jokingly, I'm like, yeah, I need to know the nearest fire hydrant. And he's like, oh, one here, 350 yards that way. And he starts naming them. I'm like, how do you know this? He's like, oh, I'm a volunteer firefighter. Come on down to the firehouse. So we went down, had a beer, and hung out for an hour. He was a computer geek as well.
Huh.
And I was like, wow, this is cool. He gave me the application. I bought the house, moved in, and applied a couple of months later.
Amazing. And how long ago was that?
2012.
Wow.
Yep. So 13 years in.
But Greg, what's it like to see a building on fire and want to go in it?
That's a rush.
Is it?
And it's fun. As long as you know you're with the right guys and gals. So when the right crew shows up, and they always do for the good fires. We had one in March of this year. And it was my buddy and I were the first 2 on scene. We had the hose in hand. He was on nozzle. I was his backup man. And we charged in, and when the house was pretty much at that point fully blazed, engulfed in flames. So we didn't go too far in, maybe 15, 20 feet in, and we're just knocking down as much as we could to keep advancing. And then we had another team in the basement, another team go to the 2nd floor. So definitely a rush.
And you don't know if there's people in there or not.
In this case, we knew there wasn't. There was a 20-something-year-old son of the family that was in the house with 3 dogs. He was running around trying to get the dogs out. He got 2 of them out. And as we were coming up the driveway when we responded, I saw him and a police officer coming out, each carrying a dog.
Wow.
One of them didn't make it, unfortunately. But yeah, we knew no one else was in there.
And the cause of a lot of these fires is what, Greg?
Could be electrical. They usually, a lot of them go unfounded if they can't find the actual source,
really?
But could be electrical, candle, washing machine, dryer.
The lint,
Yep.
right?
Yep. the backup of that. Yeah, so a lot of things can cause a fire. But fireplace, we've seen that where they haven't cleaned their fireplace often enough. Public message, announcement: get your chimney cleaned at least every couple of years.
Right.
To get the creosote out, the creosote, because the creosote goes on a fire and then it starts a fire in the actual chimney.
Oh my God.
And you don't want fire in the chimney; you just want smoke going through the chimney. So.
Has technology and even AI helped firefighting?
Yeah, so for the departments that have the budget, yes. We're in a small department, small budget. There's about 50 of us in the department compared to some of the bigger towns have hundreds of people, and therefore have several $1 million budgets versus a few $100,000. They have really cool cameras and location devices that you can wear on your helmet as you run around the building, as you're putting out the fire or doing a search for people. Command could be outside and be watching, where your location is, stuff like that. So that's pretty neat. I don't know if they're using AI, but definitely a lot of technology.
Yeah, I would think that it would help somehow. But how do we share our gratitude and thanks to volunteer fire department firefighters? How do we do that? Civilians, I don't know what we want to call it.
Volunteering is the best way, and anyone can volunteer to be a firefighter or EMT. You just need to put some time in. And if not, donations to your local fire department is usually something that helps. Money,
food, like what kind of technology?
If in a place where there's a big event, like a hurricane or something happens, that's where I guess food and other stuff could help. But normally just day to day, a few bucks doesn't have to be a lot, just donating money. Every dollar helps them with running the membership, side of the firehouse, which is what makes it fun, for us to go out and spend time with our brothers and sisters.
It was just the anniversary of 9/11 a couple of days ago, and we didn't thank and love our firefighters enough. I remember they're on the streets with booths, people donating money, and it just kind of faded away. But we shouldn't forget.
Yep. Yeah, we lost one of our volunteers from our village. Also was FDNY and lost his life that day. So everyone in the New York area knows someone.
And it affects us all. Yeah. Yep. So we're here at the MSP Summit, Greg, in Orlando.
Hopefully no fires to put out.
That's funny. I hope not, yes. Hopefully they're well equipped here. What are some of your goals this week?
To spread the word about Cloud IBR, to help the MSPs learn how to use it as a tool in their toolbox to make them stand out, help them make more money, make their clients happy, and basically, give them something that no one else has given them yet.
So how does Cloud IBR help MSPs and more importantly, their clients?
Sure. So for customers of theirs who are using Veeam to do their backups, which is what our platform is based on, which to me is the only thing, the only real awesome backup product. And I've been doing this. I founded the company 25 years ago. Prior to that, to a quick background on me, when I was 15, I put a 10 megabit laser Ethernet on the roof of my house, pointed it at my buddy's house around the corner, and we had a 10 megabit LAN connecting our houses.
Wow.
So I started doing offsite backup as a teenager. We had servers, Novell NetWare 2.12. We were, real big geeks. And I ran ArcServe at home, Cheyenne ArcServe. And that actually, when I was 19, I interviewed at Cheyenne.
Wow.
They said, well, why do you have this on your resume? I said, well, I use it at home. And I was, basically admitting to pirating. I didn't even realize it at the time.
Yes.
I was like, I got it at a swap meet, and a used tape drive. Funny. They hired me on the spot because I knew a lot about the product and had been running it for several years at that point. And when I started Continuity Centers in 2000, basically the vision was to provide recovery for small businesses. All right. I also worked for a few years at McKinsey & Company in New York City, and I built out their DR platform. We looked back then at SunGard and IBM. We went with IBM Recovery Services, and we did that up in Sterling Forest, New York. So they had seats and desks, chairs, phones, computers, everything set up, ready to go. We had all of our backups there. So I basically started a small business version of that. So in our first location in Woodbury, Long Island, we have 100 seats built out with desks, phones, chairs, everything you need.
Wow.
People still actually do use that. JetBlue's our biggest name customer right now.
Wow.
And they actually just declared a disaster a few weeks ago. Their office right near the Brooklyn Bridge was having some type of outage. I didn't get the details. Might have been internet. But basically, if they can't communicate with air traffic control and their pilots for 1 hour or more, they have to ground every plane.
Wow.
So that's a lot of planes throughout the country.
Jeez.
So they sent 65 people over to our building. They get there, they power up their desktops, and they continue to keep the planes, flying.
Wow.
They keep business running. And we've been doing that for 25 years for all different customers. So with Cloud IBR, what we've done is we've built an automation platform to completely automate the entire DR process. So the normal
Disaster
recovery.
yes.
The normal DR process for MSPs and for end users is they plan on, at time of disaster, they're going to order hardware, have it shipped somewhere, negotiate a colo term, get the hardware racked and stacked. And that whole process alone could take weeks to get equipment and get it up and running.
Updates.
And then they'll, put their backups on, and they can store, tape or object storage, whatever it might be, and then do the restore. So what our product does is it acquires that hardware on demand. So rather than you having a colo facility that you're keeping hardware at all year round, now you just come into our portal, you click the recover button, and via REST API calls, we reach out into the bare metal cloud at Phoenix Snap is one of our biggest partners. We're doing it with Google Cloud as well, soon to be Azure also, where we basically reach into them, power up servers, as many as you need to run your environment. We automate the entire process of standing them up, getting Hyper-V, VMware, Windows, ESXi, everything installed running, and then we automatically restore all your backups.
Jeez.
Firewall, VPN, IPsec, all the great things you need. And basically, instead of having a couple of week RTO, recovery time objective, you could be up and running in hours is what it takes. Yeah.
And why ride on top of Veeam? There's Veeam has competitors. Why Veeam?
Yeah, Veeam has competitors. So back in when V10 came out, I think it was 2020, we had actually at the time we were using ArcServe D2D, who was no longer owned by Cheyenne. That was the CA at that point. But we had used everything. 25 years to doing this plus 10 years experience before that. We used every product on the market. We still do. We battle test them all. Veeam is the only one I've seen so far that hasn't been able to be hacked.
Wow.
They came out in 2020 with in V10 with security hardened Linux repositories and immutability. And they are rock solid from a security standpoint, where we've done 100 plus recoveries from ransomware, and the hackers are not able to get into the security hardened Linux repository. So even though they take down everything else in your infrastructure, you call us and we have you back up and running in hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now didn't Veeam, I may have it incorrect, didn't they redo their whole licensing?
They went to VUL, VUL licensing, and it's instead of per socket, it's per machine. Yeah, which we love. It works great.
Oh, is that right?
And as a Veeam partner, we basically it's a rental agreement that we do, and that's what other MSPs can either have a relationship with Veeam, or if they're not large enough to have that, they can go through a partner like us to get those rental. So instead of buying licenses, you're renting a month, which is what everyone's doing these days.
Sure. Because now, Greg, so when I had my MSP back in the 90s, I sold it in 2019, we were using backup just for a disaster. Something happened and we wanted to restore. But now it's good for if they get attacked, if they get malware, they want to go back to a certain point before the attack happens. So now it's even more critical for different reasons.
Yeah, and also for day-to-day when there's not a disaster, our product by default will launch a recovery fully automated once a month, run through the entire process, send you a PDF report.
Wow.
And now you have a monthly audit that you can show to cyber insurance. If you're doing an RFP for a big deal, a lot of the companies now will say, we want to know that you have a DR plan in place so that if we're going to do business with you, we want to know you can stay up and running. So our product gives them that monthly audit, and they can run it as often as they want.
Wow.
Yeah.
So have you created a platform? If the MSP needs this restoration, is it a platform that gets executed, or is there people on? So what happens?
Yep, it's a platform. So they go to cloudibr.com.
That's right.
They go to the partner section. They sign up to be a partner, free to sign up. Once they're signed up, they can send out invitations to their customers. Basically, the customer then will have access to the portal as well to be able to see those reports, et cetera. And the only pre-requirement to that is that the customer is using Veeam to do backups.
All right. That's
so
it.
If the MSP is not versed with Veeam and that's not a product they sell, but they want the whole package, we offer that as well. And that's more of a hands-on human. It doesn't have to be on site, but basically our parent company, Continuity Centers, will build, we build appliances. We ship them out to the MSP or to the MSP's customer. They rack and stack it. And on that appliance has the Linux security hardened repository, has all the Veeam software, et cetera. And we'll fully manage all the Veeam backups, et cetera. And the partner can focus on, doing whatever services they provide to the customer.
And that's if they have servers on premises.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. If they have them only in the cloud, then the appliance, it's a virtual appliance that gets deployed to the cloud.
Right, right. That makes sense. So if they don't have a hardware solution, they can use yours. But if they have a backup solution, it's got to be Veeam in order to use your.
Correct. Yeah. As long as they're using Veeam to send the backups to object storage like Veeam Data Vault, Wasabi, to name a couple of the big ones out there. Basically, they send their backups to object storage. There are some Veeam partners who host Cloud Connect, which is another type of destination for backups. We also support that. So as long as the Veeam is sending those backups out of the customer site and to object storage or Cloud Connect, they log into our portal. It takes about 15 minutes to onboard a client, and you hit recover, and you got your first recovery running.
Is it white labeled? If the client comes in, will they see your name?
It is, so the white labeling is within the PDF reporting. So they go in, once they log in, they go to my profile, edit company in the portal, and they can upload their logo and white label it. Yep.
Yeah, it seems like a great solution, Greg. And you built this from scratch.
We did, yeah. We were actually working with Veeam since 2020, and 2.5 years ago, someone came to me and said, all this stuff that your staff does manually for customers, because we've been doing the same thing for years, they said, could you automate it? And that's the first time I interacted with the bare metal cloud. And that's what really kind of made it possible for us to build our solution. Was Phoenix Snap had hardware sitting there powered off, waiting for someone to rent it. And it's per minute rental. So basically, our software can reach out and power them up and rent them for the duration of the disaster or the recovery test, and then power them all off when it's done, and you only pay for when you use it.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of the bigger partners and some of the bigger MSPs might have data centers with colo, and this is 2 years ago when we met them at a lot of the conferences. They'd say, the typical big MSP would say, oh, well, we just invested $1 million in new hardware and data center, et cetera. And fast forward 2.5 years, that hardware is becoming aged, and they need to replace it all and refresh it. And they're coming back to us and saying, nah, we don't want to refresh it again. We'll just use your product because it does the same thing they were doing manually, but it automates it. Wow. And it gives you hardware on demand, which is, it's like a couple of dollars an hour rental for most of our clients. That's what they pay every month when the test runs, is they pay a couple of dollars an hour for the test. So, yeah.
So the biggest obstacle an MSP has to overcome to use your platform is what?
As long as they're running Veeam, there are no obstacles. If they're not running Veeam, they can either choose to become a Veeam partner and deploy it themselves, or they can outsource that to us, partner with us. We'll white label that on their behalf, so they can basically, whether it's our physical appliance they use or software only, and then we'll do all the heavy lifting with the Veeam backups.
So, Greg, I started my MSP in the 90s. When did you start yours?
First one was 1999.
Wow.
We didn't call it that then, though.
No.
Ours was an FPA, fixed price agreement, is what we called it.
And we were just network support.
Yep.
No, it really wasn't a network. It was more like computer support. Yeah.
I knew we needed a 3-letter acronym, so we came up with FPA. It was a fixed price agreement, And for X amount of dollars per month, we handled everything.
Everything, yeah. Fixed agreement. But 99 was pre-Y2K, so that was a very odd time. I was around then. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
Well, some of us thought nothing would happen.
Right. Did you?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you applied the patches to the servers. You know, I remember watching the news the days and weeks following, and I think that the biggest event I saw was one guy went to a local, Blockbuster, but the local version of a Blockbuster. He went to return his VHS, and the guy had like a $4,000 bill. And it's because the computer had the wrong year and they hadn't updated. And that was,
That's funny.
I think that was the worst of Y2K. But that's because everyone did prepare.
That's right. Deal, so. Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I also remember like Intel had an issue with one of their chips at one point where I had like the 7th decimal was not multiplying correctly. Do you remember this?
I don't.
It's odd. I don't know why I thought of that. So anyway, I was starting the support company back then, and I was working way too hard, like yourself, and not eating well, and staying late, 14, 16-hour days. You're no stranger to that. And I'm at the doctor, Greg, and she tells me I'm at 340 pounds. So I had gained a crazy amount of weight of just, not paying attention to myself. She says,
you're about 140 now?
A little more. Yeah, about a deuce. But I was a 47-inch waist, so 32 now. So she says to me, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. Scared the hell out of me. Spent the next 6-7 months, lost about 120 pounds, kept it off. You can't look at it as a finishing line. And when people ask me, how'd you do it? I always say discipline. That's how. Focus, motivation. How does discipline play a role in your life, Greg?
Between being a chief, an EMT, firefighter, business owner, father of 3, husband, you just need to put enough time for each of them and know when one can override the other. As far as time goes, the wife can only handle so much time without a nice evening out.
Right.
Customers might seem like they're always demanding, but they also are understanding. And when you have the right staff behind you, that's what, I think makes my business life. I haven't worked like that other than when there's a ransomware attack and, all hands on deck to help someone recover. The fire department, the volunteer stuff, you do it as much as you can. And you try to have fun doing it all. I think as long as you can have fun with work, with your colleagues, with your customers, then it makes it enjoyable and it doesn't make it seem like work.
Balance. How old are your kids?
15, 17, and 25.
Wow. It's not easy. But it seems like you love doing it.
I love technology. I've been since I was like 10 years old. I got my first, I think it was an Apple IIe back then. I had an Atari 1040 ST, which
me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was just a great time to get into tech.
Yes, it was. BBSs and
we had a lot of phone lines at my friend's house. We had a lot of dial-in.
I bet you I dialed in.
Yep.
I bet you I did. I was in New Haven, right across the Sound.
Heart of Gold was his website.
Oh, God, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar. A small world.
Yep, there was a lot of games that we played online by dial-up.
Yeah, very different time than it's. I always wonder now the games now are just incredible.
It's different.
It's so different.
I get motion sickness when I play the games these days.
I could see that too. Yeah. So I thank you so much for your time, Greg. So your message to MSPs this week and anybody listening is what?
Come over and meet us and learn how simple it is to make your customers recoverable quickly for a low fee. The product starts at $149 a month. We have monthly and annual subscriptions.
Amazing.
So it's really inexpensive. And it gets your customers back up and running, whether it's the legacy type disaster, fire and flood, or it's ransomware. We get you back up and running, guaranteed.
Cloud IBR, and it's cloudibr.com.
And it stands for Instant Backup Recovery.
Instant Backup Recovery, IBR. Greg Tellone, I thank you so much for your time.
Joey, pleasure meeting you.
Thanks. Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with 1 or 2 of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.